algorithm showed me your face today. Between a recipe and a headline, like the universe outsourced its timing to a recommendation engine. You keep showing up in small ways, never enough to change my mind, just enough to make me wonder who we be in a different timeline. Conversation had two versions, the one you said and the one you meant. I got good at reading subtitles underneath your practice calm. You called it keeping things simple, I called it keeping options on. Funny how distance edits people, leaves the best scenes in the car. You keep showing up in small ways, never enough to change my mind, just enough to make me wonder who we be in a different timeline. Late train rattling through the city, empty seats and fluorescent blue. A stranger wearing your old cologne for half a second became you. Not enough to stop my heartbeat, not enough to turn around, just enough to remind me how memory hides in ordinary sounds. The train surfaced above the river, lights stretched gold across the glass. You keep showing up in small ways, never enough to change my mind, just enough to make me wonder who we be in a different timeline. Maybe be in a different timeline. Maybe closure's overrated. Maybe some doors stay half open. My stop arrived without a warning, and I got off before the thought could stay. Voicemail expired sometime last week. The app stopped keeping it for free. Strange thing to notice on a Tuesday afternoon, while waiting for a coffee I didn't even want. You fit my life like borrowed clothing, right until I moved around. Everybody thought it suited me, and the seam started making sound. borrow clothes, right until I moved around. Everybody thought it suited me, and the seams started making sound. Down, 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 down. Rain collecting on the bookstore windows, closing soon, lights going dim. I found the novel you swore I'd love, still untouched, along the spine. Not because it meant too much, not because it hurt to try, just because some recommendations belong to different versions of our lives. The cashier asked if I needed a bag. I almost said, not anymore. The bartender remembered my order before my name. Said the usual, like nothing ever changed. I almost laughed at how familiar that felt. Some things stay longer than they should. You love the version of me that never really existed. Built me out of missing pieces, and acted surprised when I shifted. You spoke in future tense too often, like hands alone could make the rhythm. Every room became a stage set, every silence had to be filled. Kept finding little exits in conversations we call trust. It got distance, meant resistance. Sometimes it's just distance to you. You wanted certainty on demand. I was never that kind of answer. The version of me that never really existed. Built me out of missing pieces, and acted surprised when I shifted. Rideshare windows, city lights running backward, billboards bending in the rain. Your last message still pinned at the top. Not important enough to erase, not important enough to revisit. Funny place for a memory to stay, like a coat hanging by the doorway. take you with me. On a paper receipt, folded in half underneath my keys. I found it weeks later, still untouched. Like some conversations are better unfinished. You were all green lights, no direction. All fast talking, good intentions. I like you best in the reflection. Far enough to stay perfection. You always do exactly when to smile, like coming to replace the miles. Every story had a cleaner ending than the one waiting outside. You call me difficult to read, I caught it leaving room to breathe. You wanted certainty from me, I kept my hands around the key. You look for answers in my face. I changed the subject with my gaze. You were all green lights, no direction. All fast talking, good intentions. I like you best in the reflection. Far enough to stay perfection. Airport terminal gate delay, watching strangers reunite. You sent the message, then unsent it live. We were both afraid to ride. Funny how they almost last longer than the things we have. I still remember how you laughed, not enough to turn me back. The screen flashed bold in white and blue. For a second I thought of you. You were all green lights, no direction. All fast talking, good intentions. I liked you best in the reflection. Far enough to stay perfection. Some people fear the season better. Then they feel like together. The plane lifts into a painted dawn. I watch the city blur and move on. Your name glows once across the dashboard light. Red signal at midnight, nowhere to be on time. I trace the crack in the leather seat instead. Let the city talk for us through the glass again. You look better in the rear view. Smaller every mile I drive. Funny how the distance suits you. More honest when you're out of sight. sound of almost. Half-finished plans and open doors. I learned the shape of every promise, the ones you kept and the ones ignored. Street lights cut your shadow into pieces. Yellow lines flicker through the seams. You called it complicated feelings. I called it exactly what it seems. You wait for me to miss you loud. I never give the silence. You look better in the rearview. Smaller every mile I try. Funny how the distance suits you. More honest when you're out of sight. Gas station coffee cooling in my hand. Create and receipts folded in the dash. Your jacket's gone but the imprint stayed. Like a habit I forgot to have. I don't hate you, that's too easy. I just stopped rewriting what was clear. Some things fade without a warning. Some things sharpen when they disappear. The road bends left, the skyline breaks. I finally stop rehearsing what I say. You look better in the rearview. Smaller every mile I drive. Funny how the distance suits you. More honest when you're out of sight. No dramatic ending, no last scene. Just less of you in everything. Morning leaks into the windshield blue. The city fades, the feeling does too.